Right. So, hey, Satish, good evening. How are you?
Good evening. Doing well. How are you?
Good. All right. So, we're here. The NFL has finally reached its playoff. All the regular season games are done. It was a pretty interesting wrap up to the end. A lot of the teams got in, a lot of the teams got left out. But anyway, we're finally here. And I think what we're going to do today is that Satish is going to pick three games straight up, and then I'll go pick the other three games, and then we'll see who gets here. So, Satish, maybe you can give a quick recap of the games that you're going to pick, and then go through one by one, and then I'll wrap up my three teams, and then we'll see if each of us can, you know, kind of comment on each other's picks.
Sounds good. All right. So I picked a couple of AFC matchups and an NFC one. So I'll start with the first AFC one, Browns at Texans. So Cleveland's heading over to play Houston Texans. First playoff appearance, I think, in almost 4 years. They haven't been there since 2019. The last time actually I picked the game in regular season, Houston actually ended up losing to Cleveland. I thought they'd win, but the reason was CJ Stroud was out with a concussion protocol. But what was really telling in that game to me was Texans defense gave up a lot of yards to Joe Flacco, almost I think 400. So that's a lot, right? So the question is
Right.
really, will the Texans defense step up? And then the second thing is there's inconsistency in this team, and so which Texans team is going to show up for the game? The one that beat good teams like Jags and Bucks and Bengals, or the one that lost to like pretty weak teams, like Panthers or Falcons or Jets, and so it's Browns, on the other hand, first playoff appearance in 3 years, so they've also been out for a while. Watch out for Amari Cooper and Joe Flacco, right? And those
Mhm.
guys can turn it up. So their defense is, I'm thinking, I'd say they're legit. They've got good pass rushing. They've got a really good set of cornerbacks. So CJ is gonna, have a day with them. The only ding I would say against the Browns is they lead apparently the NFL in turnovers. Now, they make a lot of turnovers happen too,
Mhm.
but they have a lot of turnovers. So look, I love CJ Stroud. I would love to see the Texans move on, but I'm going to give Browns the edge, and it's going to be like, I'm thinking like a mediocre scoring 21-14 in favor of the Browns.
Okay.
So the next one I picked was Steelers at Bills. So this is out in the open, upstate New York with the weather and everything. Who knows, right? So Steelers haven't been to playoffs in a long time, like seven some years. The big question is, what's this new quarterback Mason Rudolph gonna be like? He has come through in the last end of the season. He's kind of put together some good games. Um, like 30-point games, the last couple, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
But the question is, like, how's their defense going to be, right? TJ Watt may not even make it.
Yep.
And
I think he's
then
out. I
they've
think
had
he's out.
he is out, yeah.
Yep.
So, and then they've had linebackers who have missed time. Bills, on the other hand, like if you look at their record, they've been making playoffs for five straight seasons. Their offense has been playing a little better towards the end of the season. I mean, I would say they've been playing better, probably more on the defense. I should take that back. Josh Allen, the offense is a little bit inconsistent. Their receivers have
Mm.
been like dropping balls. So I'm actually thinking, like, can their defense carry them this time, especially with the weather and just their record, right? So it's a
Yep.
tricky call in my view. This could well be like full of turnovers, right?
Mm.
And maybe the kicker makes the difference. And but having said all that, I would say Josh probably can do enough to get them into the field goal range. So I'm thinking low scoring, 12-9
12
in
9.
favor of
Wow.
Bill.
Yeah, I think the weather has got something to do with it. I think I did hear upstate New York is going to get like. We'll get to the Kansas City game later, but I do think that the Bills are usually good at home. So
Right.
I like your pick, and I think because of the fact that the weather is this one, so I think definitely something to consider. And then you have one more on the.
One more.
Uh,
Yeah.
oh,
So Eagles at Bucks. And this is kind of, ironic, right? If you didn't know the Eagles, you'd be like, why is
hold
11-6
on.
team going? You got it? You still there, Sridhar?
I think we may have lost Satish. I think, but
I'm
anyway.
still here.
Oh, you're here. Okay, all right. I think
Yeah.
there was a little break in the action, and I think maybe some internet woes. I
Okay.
think. All right,
You
so
want me
let's
to
go to
still
the
keep
let's go
going?
to the final game, and then let's
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
to the
So I
NFL.
was I was saying, yeah, so I was saying, Sridhar, Eagles at Bucks, 11-6 team going on the road to a 9-8 team, right?
Yeah.
But Eagles kind of did this to themselves. So, they have themselves to blame. Eagles are going, third straight time into the playoffs. They beat the Bucks so easily, but it was so early in the season. Jalen Hurts and Eagles looked like a very different team back then, right? So the offense on paper, and if you look at early season performance, looks great, right? You got people like Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, Devonta Smith. I mean, it's a good crew.
Yep.
But if they can get their act together, is that going to be enough? I think this defense still has work to do.
Yep.
The change when they made to Matt Patricia for making play calls, it hasn't really yielded better results, I would say. So they would need to fight like hell if they want to stay in contention.
Hmm.
Bucks, have been in the playoffs for 4 years now. Baker Mayfield, he's been doing really well, right? Especially towards the end of the season. Just one interception, I'm told, and like 9 touchdowns in
Yep.
4 games. The last week's loss to Saints wasn't the way they were before. So, you can ask that question and throw a caution in the wind. The defense also seemed to get better towards the end. So the question is, do they have momentum heading into the playoffs with their type of consistency? But to summarize, I would say Eagles, I think, will be a better coach team and pull this one off, although I don't see them lasting much longer in the playoffs.
Hmm.
So, having said that, Jalen and Baker will probably do what they can to pump up the scores. And I'm thinking this could be like 30-21 in favor of the Eagles. I know I'm a little bit optimistic about the Eagles, but something tells me Jalen will come fired up.
Okay. So I think the Eagles are the team that have lost five of the last six. They were 10-1. They made the change with Sean Desai going upstairs and Matt Patricia coming in. But their offense has not been clicking. I like all your picks, and if I was going to pick, I would have picked the same way. Um, and interesting picks on the Buffalo and the Steelers, right? And then let's go to mine, right? I mean, the Chiefs and Dolphins, they did play earlier this year. I think they played in London, and the Chiefs humiliated the Dolphins, and that was when
A
the
long
Dolphins.
time ago.
That was a long time ago that the Dolphins had both Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Um,
Mm.
and I think one of the biggest stories coming out of this weekend, apart from the fact that it's going to be on Peacock, a lot of my Chiefs fans were complaining it's on Chiefs Peacock and that they have to pay $13.99. Um, but other than that, I think the weather is going to be the big story. It's going to be probably the coldest game ever in Kansas City. And, if I am Miami Dolphins, getting used to the, uh, you know, South Beach there, I think half the team may not even take the plane. I think it's a mindset. Not to say that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to be, very comfortable at home in that weather. It's cold. I mean, and it's not like they're used to be playing in that weather. Acclimatized. The Chiefs have not played well. The defense is still carrying them. Mahomes is still trying to find his way with his receivers, but it's Mahomes. and
Yeah.
and to me, Tua will make enough mistakes. I think Tyreek Hill. This is the Tyreek Hill going back to Kansas City game, but um, a receiver is not going to change everything. I mean, maybe a couple of long plays. I mean, who knows, right? He gets behind the defense, and they go up quickly, and then the Chiefs are Chiefs find it tough to score. Who knows, right? But to me, I think Mahomes is at home is pretty much unbeatable, and
And don't forget Pacheco, right? I think look,
yeah,
if things get wobbly and you can't throw much between Mahomes and Pacheco, I mean these guys can keep the ball on the ground and could
absolutely,
become a possession game.
absolutely. I agree with you 100%. So I'm picking the Chiefs. I think it's going to be low scoring because of the weather. I'm picking a 24-20 win for the Chiefs. All right,
Mm.
let's go to the next one, which is actually the Cowboys and the
Mm.
Packers. The Cowboys are definitely flying high. They kind of sneaked into the um, second place in the NFC thanks to the Eagles floundering end of the season. Um, and Cowboys definitely, once they beat the Eagles, they leveled with the Eagles, and then the Eagles losing to the Cardinals didn't help. And the Eagles losing to um, the Giants at home didn't help. And the
Yeah.
Cowboys were able to beat Washington in the end and get the number two spot, and that's why the Eagles are going all the way to the Bucks, even though you are picking them to win, which I agree with. The Cowboys are. I think this is a game. Um, I don't see the Packers coming all the way to Jerry's World and beating the Cowboys. The
Mm.
Cowboys are on firing on all cylinders. Very good defense. Micah Parsons will be in he'll be in the backfield for most of the time. And I think Dak Prescott will be able to make enough plays. CD Lamb is their go-to guy. And I think they have enough weapons. Their offensive line is good. The Packers have, I mean, I was told by a lot of folks that the Packers have the youngest team in the NFL. So I
Mm.
think this is not their time. They do have Jordan Love. He seems to be a good serviceable quarterback. Yet to prove, who knows, right? I mean, maybe the next 2 years, maybe his step up, but not this time. I think the Cowboys are going to win pretty easily at home. I would even say it's going to be like a 30-16 kind of a game, win by 2 touchdowns. Um, and then we finally come to the game, which matters a lot, at least to one person, which is Jared Goff, who got shipped out of LA, shipped all the way to Detroit, has taken Detroit to the playoffs. I mean, and what they've achieved is pretty remarkable. With Dan Campbell, they have excellent Amon St. Brown, good receivers. Um they got Jameer Gibbs in the running back. But the Rams have actually played pretty well. They've actually been playing pretty well under Sean McVay. Stafford has regained his confidence. They got Cooper Cup is back to his normal self. They got a good fifth round pick in Puka Nakua, who's actually been very good as a rookie. They got Kieran Williams, who's doing a great job at the running back. Their defense is still amazing with Aaron Donald. And then Detroit has Hutchinson. So this is going to be an amazing matchup. This is like a get your popcorns out. A lot of storylines here. Detroit playing LA. I was so conflicted all day about this game. I was not too sure, but sentimentally, I said, let me put it this way: my heart wants Detroit to win,
Mm.
and I still think Detroit was going to win, but it's not going to be so close. It's going to come down to a last second field goal and Detroit prevailing. It's going to be a high scoring game. It's inside the dome. There's no issue with the weather. And I have a feeling it's going to be like a 30-27 Detroit win. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if the Rams pull it, but I'm sticking with my picks with Detroit. So, what do you think about my picks?
Yeah, so I mean, I'll start with the end, and I'll say I think actually it could be even higher scoring. I'll
Oh,
go as
wow.
far as saying we might get into like 40 because I'm not sure I have seen either Detroit or Rams defense really kind of shutting anybody, right? So I think you might be looking higher, but I do agree with you that Detroit will come on the right side of this
Mm.
game, and I, by the way, am also a fan of them to win. Um, on your game before, which was the um, um,
Cowboys
uh,
and Packers.
Cowboys won. I agree. I don't have anything to add other than, this is just not the right time, and the conditions are just everything is favoring Cowboys and their momentum. Chiefs one is an interesting one. I do agree with you. At the end of the day, Mahomes is Mahomes in the playoffs, so he'll make it win. Like I said, I think it would be low scoring. You may have to rely a lot on running. I just don't know if how Miami will handle Pacheco, frankly. So that's why I say they will come out. I would actually think that might even be a lower scoring game than what you project. I think you said like 2014 or something
I
like
think
that.
I think it is 24-20, I believe, but that's okay. I mean, I can
Yeah,
go and check back
24-20.
later. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I'm thinking it might end up lower. But actually, it looks like we both agreed with at least who will come out on the win column. So this will be a good one to keep score of.
Yeah. So if we pick, the way our picks are going, right, because for the AFC, it could be the Ravens, Flacco going to the Ravens, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
And the
His whole
Bills,
team.
his whole team, and the Bills locking with the Chiefs. And this is amazing because the Bills did lose to the Chiefs. They had the lead. And then they blew the lead they had the lead. And then with 13 seconds to go, Mahomes was able to drive down, get the field goal at Arrowhead, went to the overtime, and they won it easily, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to be a big revenge game for Josh Allen against Chiefs, and we'll get to that next week. And then Flacco going to Ravens. Wow, that's like another popcorn event. So
Yeah,
we will
yeah,
be
that's
analyzing
something else.
that next week, and then going to the NFC. Uh, Obviously, we do have the Cowboys winning. We do have San Francisco winning. You did pick the Eagles, which is the 5 seed, and then I think we both picked Detroit. So in that case, we would have Cowboys hosting the Lions and 49ers hosting the Eagles.